Well, good morning, Wellspring, and everybody out in Zoom land. This is April 14th, 2024. My name is Vicki Avery, and I'm one of the board trustees here at Wellspring. And I'm just so happy to be with you in person. Usually I'm on Zoom, and here I am. So, as usual, we have a few announcements. Early Birds meets Sunday mornings at 9:30 via Zoom. The link is in the weekly email or on the website. Our speaker today is our beloved Reverend Sandhi Scott. Upcoming speakers next week will be Dr. Edward, and on the 28th is Reverend Kamatara. She comes down from Albuquerque. Thursday evening group meets every Thursday at 7 p.m. We're watching a variety of videos, sure to bring up questions and discussions, and currently they're talking about sacred geometry, and it's blowing people's minds. The Board of Trustees have decided on creating a labyrinth just outside here at the edge of the pergola. So if you would please be part of that by finding and bringing rocks to help on the pathway. About 6-inch rocks will be great, and all different sizes, shapes, and colors, because we are an inclusive community, so all different rocks will be part of our labyrinth. And we need lots of rocks, so go out there and get stoned, kids. April get-together will be a Jewish Seder at 4 p.m. next Sunday afternoon, April 21st, here at Wellspring. There is a sign-up sheet in the social hall, and men need to wear some sort of a cap or hat, a yarmulke. And the May get-together is on Saturday, May 4th, New Horizons Band Concert, 3 p.m. at Atkinson's Recital Hall. That's at the university, and it is a free concert, so let's all meet out in the lobby, sit together, and then if folks want to go out for dinner afterwards, and that's optional. The Mesilla Valley Chorale will be in concert on Sunday, May 5th at 3 p.m. at the Rio Grande Theater. And during these times of unrest, they've decided to sing about peace and freedom. Tickets are $10 and may be purchased in advance from our own Judy Bethman. And it is suggested that you get tickets in advance because even though they do offer them at the door, the last concert was sold out and people were turned away because the auditorium was full. And I'm going to ask Terry, is there anything you would like to say about the Seder next Sunday?
Good morning, everybody. I have been asked to lead a Seder next Sunday afternoon, 4 p.m. Thank you. I don't want time to show up.
I'll remind you.
Thank you. And I'm imagining everybody is welcome. You do need to sign up because there is food involved, so we want to make sure that everybody gets that opportunity. It will be a lovely service, I hope. The Haggadah is the story of the Exodus, I'm sure as most of you know, and the particular Haggadah that we're going to be using, as I understand it, covers it pretty well in a little bit of a shorter time. And I encourage anybody who would like to come to absolutely come. Everyone will get to participate, and that will be a wonderful thing. So, and you can speak with Judy about it for reservations.
Thank you, Terry. We are such an awesome community here. That's great. Lastly, our prayer team remains ready to serve and to support you. You may submit a prayer request via our webpage, or we do have some in the back. You can fill one out and please give it to Edward. The prayer team meets virtually on Tuesday afternoons at 4:15 to pray with you. You may consider sitting in your quiet space during that time. We know that we are one in spirit, and the energy of prayer knows no limit. And now for our invocation, if you'd like to just get comfortable in your seats. Mother, Father, God, Great Spirit, the all that is, that flows in, through, and each one of us is here present with us as we gather together as like-minded folk in our community, spiritual community. We know that all is in divine order and that each of us will receive the gifts that we need to further our own spiritual journey. And we are grateful for this time to come together at our beloved Wellspring. And we say together, and so it is. And now, if you're able, please stand for our song of joy. It's in every one of us. Thank you. That was so pretty. Wellspring's got talent. Yeah. And so now, if you would please, let's read together our vision, mission, and our affirmation. Our vision, to elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. Our mission, to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. And our affirmation, as the days grow longer and the sun shines more brightly, we affirm that our inner light is shining brightly also. We accept our destiny to be a light for the world and bring it more joy, peace, and happiness. And so it is. And now it's time for our special music with our own Barry Shaw. As always, that was very nice.
Oh, boy, you are full of them today. They're great.
Well, it's springtime. New season, new beginnings, opportunity for growth. And this reading came to mind. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's called The Dash. I read of a man who stood to speak at a funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between the years. For that dash represents all the time that they spent alive on earth. And now only those who love them know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spent our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left, and that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering this special dash might only last a little while. So, when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? And springtime is a good time to take a look at that. And now it's with great joy that I get to introduce our beloved Reverend Sandhi.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Oh, I love spring, don't you? I don't know anyone that doesn't like spring. So here we are. Thank you, Vicki. That was wonderful. That really was. And I really firmly urge you to come to the Seder with Terry. We've been friends for 10 solid long years, and we've been through it all, you know, toe to toe, heart to heart, soul to soul. We really have an amazing, valid, changing, evolving friendship, and I know how she prepares for things. So, and her Jewishness has been such a blessing to me, and I love going to her temple. If you haven't been on Friday night, it's so beautiful. And the teachings are about community. And I call her mitzvah on legs because mitzvah means good deeds. She's doing good deeds every day. She's an amazing person. So I get all choked up thinking about you, and there you are. So please come to Seder, especially if you haven't been to one or if you have been to one, because her take on things is always authentic and balanced. She has a balance of intellect and heart, and I'm out of balance in the heart, so she's a real blessing to me because she makes me think more, which is refreshing. Okay, so it's spring, and this is Wellspring. This is Wellspring. I looked it up, and it says it's a original and bountiful source of something. Isn't that Wellspring? I know there's another definition here, and Judy sent it to me, but I couldn't find it this morning. But Wellspring, a source of bounty, original. I love that. And I've been wellspringing this week. Have you been wellspringing? The events at Wellspring put a spring in my step. I'm trying to imitate Vicki, I guess, with your puns. But I went to Lunch Bunch, and it was delightful. A round table of amazing people with good conversation. And then what did I do? There were 3 of them. Anyway, it was a pleasure to celebrate the arrival on Earth of Vicky last night. Oh, and the gallery with Jim Moore's art. It was really wonderful. Dean and Simon picked me up. That's just so generous of them, and took me out to Doña Ana to this wonderful show. And he has a pottery chicken that is so charming. It's this big. He has a picture of it if you want to see it. But I love supporting artists, and the group was sitting in a circle outside on a warm evening. It was just delightful. So Wellspringing puts a spring in my step for sure. It really does. It's enriched my life since I started, which is, Edward called me a year ago yesterday to invite me to speak. It was one of the most wonderful days of my life, wasn't it? It was just so good to be able to be back in the saddle and do what I love doing. So it's a real honor to be here today. And I welcome everyone on camera, on Zoom. I hope you enjoy it. And to anyone that happens to look at the tape, thank you very much, my California friends. So today we're going to talk about spring and springs and ladybugs. So spring is a season. It's from vernal equinox to summer solstice. And we have 67 days left of spring. It's like 67 days left till shopping. It's 67 days left till summer. So what's it going to be? It is up to me. If it is to be, it is up to me. And to me to surrender to a greater spirit than I am. That spirit is greater than anything I can think of, go through, experience, express. Spirit is greater. And if I remember the big S, I'm fine. And I have a prop today, and part of it is the big S with the little s resting in the curve. If we just rest in great spirit with our soul, Atman, we can have an easy time. If we want to. If I want to, I will. If I'm in trouble, I go, well, big girl, how long do you want to suffer? You have all the solutions right at your fingertips. So a spring is, by definition, a coil that is compressed to resist compression. So resist compression. I try not to resist it because I really do believe what you resist persists. But I do get compressed. I call it contracted. When something happens, I can feel myself contract. And I always say, I get so contracted, God can't get in with a crowbar. It's like, no, this is mine to deal with. This is too small for you. This is laundry. Well, Spirit does laundry. Amazing. Spirit does dishes. Spirit looks for my little rascal dogs when they escape. But I made a fence last weekend. I did that DIY. Thank you, Terry. She saves me all the time. I made a fence against my gate to block them in. And I want to say that I wouldn't usually wear sandals with exposed feet to church, but I had to dress around my baby toe because it might be broken. And I tried to wear shoes for you guys, but it just went, whoa! And then you had your Birkenstocks on. We'd be sisters. Okay, so there's mental energy and metal energy. Metal energy is like a spring, and it is flexible. It is flexible, and it's made to keep things moving, not stagnant. So Terry's going to pass out springs, and I wanted to tell you it was a trip finding springs because they're expensive. I couldn't believe it. My Lord in heaven, what is that about? Oh, wrong one. That's your second gift. They're very small today. I had both containers in my magic crystal bowl. There we go. Okay, so a spring compresses, flattens, and squeezes. Can you relate? So when do you get flattened? When do you get squeezed in life? When do you react? You know, I always say, let's move from knee-jerk reaction to mindful response. Like push the button before, if you feel it rising, and you know it's rising, and right there, when it first starts bubbling up, I have a choice. You know, do I want to react or respond mindfully? What are you going to do? And then if you react, you know what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to make amends. Damn, not fun. So I do my best to pause. And that's very rare for me because I'm a ready, fire, aim girl from way back. I always just act and speak way too fast. So I've slowed down, thank God. So springs compress. And pressure is convincing people with intimidation. And so we don't like to be pressured, do we? And we don't like to be compressed either. It's very uncomfortable. It's bad for your body, mind, and soul because it stops circulation. It stops the freedom to think freely. It's like you're in reaction and you're stuck in this compressed state. So I have an example of what might compress. Well, it compresses me. This is the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous. So I just blew my anonymity, but so what? Bill W. always said his both names, the founder. So this book is really old because I got sober in 78. And then after 23 years, I drank. For 5 years now, I have 18 years sobriety. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful way to live. But the enrichment comes from new thought for me. New thought. But the steps tell me how to get out of the trouble I've gotten myself in. You know what I mean? Like it tells me that when I'm in a relationship and there's a breakdown in communication or there's an upset, it can be healed. Before, if there was any kind of an upset, I would snap the grenade, throw it in back of me, and blow the bridge up. It was over. I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't apologize. I wouldn't own myself, the mistakes I'd made. So anyway, I know that Kamatara's talk was wonderful, wasn't it, on Easter? I watched it because I watched Brahm. I used to have him as a guest speaker over at the other one. And it shall remain anonymous, sort of. Anyway, I wanted to hear Brahm again, and he's wonderful. The intellect of Brahm and the passion of Kamatara, they're just such gifts to us, aren't they? Wellspring's got it going on, and I hope you can share it with people. You know, like you could say, I was reminded of something today at Wellspring. And the speakers there just rock my soul. And maybe you'd like to come. Because it grows by word of mouth. And so I have to open my mouth and invite. I invite people all the time. Not real successful at it, but I'm not going to give up. How about you? I mean, we need to share this gem. This is an amazing place with a spiritual philosophy for affirmative living that we can count on every day in every way at every decision. So it is phenomenal. It really is. And I see Wellspring springing out. You know, like in Gypsy Rose Lee, the musical, when Ethel Merman says, "Sing out, Louise." So spring out, Wellspring. It's time. It's time to let the news out that we are an amazing group of people, that I don't hear backstabbing here. I don't hear gossip about the board. I mean, it's just a phenomenon. I've been in a lot of churches. I mean, I was a minister active for 39 years, and this is the best I've ever found. It really is. So let's let it grow. Okay, so it says in the 12 and 12, this is from step 10, which is continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Well, that was really hard for me in the beginning. I was terrified of being wrong, because being wrong meant I was wrong, not I didn't know better. It meant I'm wrong. And so if someone told me I was wrong, I would contract. And now it's like, oh, I'm wrong. Let's look at it. It's just to be open to it. It's just wonderful. So it says, there are cases when our ancient enemy, rationalization, can you relate, has stepped in and has justified conduct which was really wrong. The temptation here is to imagine that we had good motives and reasons when we really didn't. We constructively criticize someone who needed it when our real motive was to win a useless argument. Or the person concerned not being present, we thought we were helping others to understand him. I can't tell you how many people in my life try to make people understand me that can't stand me. It's just pointless, and it's none of anyone's business, you know. So when you try to explain someone, to me, it's condescending. Anyway, we thought we were helping others to understand him, when in actually true motive was to feel superior by pulling him down. You know, Terry and I gave up gossip years ago, and it wasn't easy. And if we slip into gossip, we say, uh-oh, your insecurity is showing. Remember your slip is showing when we wore slips? Wait, remember, Edward? He's such a good sport. I just love him. Okay. When actually the motive was to feel superior by pulling him down. We sometimes hurt those we love because they need to be taught a lesson when we really want to punish. We were depressed and complained we felt bad when in fact we were mainly asking for sympathy and attention. Guilty of all of the above. And I'm making progress. We say in this program, progress, not perfection, which I love that because we're all making progress right here today. And my fervent aim is to say something that is applicable for you in your life. This is for you. I mean, I dress so you don't look at my wrinkles as much as my clothes. Please just look at my clothes. So the insecurities last, but I do better with them. I still blow it, but I do better with it. I still get off track, but I get on track sooner. Can you relate? So when we're compressed, we know what to do. It's like, breathe into it, lean into it. Like, oh, this is miserable. What have I attracted to myself? How did this happen? Well, you were there, big girl. And how long do you want to perpetuate the self-righteous indignation that lasts for a minute and then you owe an amends again? So when I first got sober, I made amends just to work a perfect program. I didn't really mean it. And now when I make amends, I really am remorseful that my actions or words affected someone negatively, that brought their frequency down. I really care. And I make genuine amends now. But I think we have to cut ourselves slack because as long as I'm in the clod, you know, Ernest Holmes said, when we die, we go free from the clod, home to God. I love him so much. So as long as I'm in the clod, I'm going to have a monkey mind. And so I negotiate a lot. Like, oh, we're going to do Wellspring. How do you plan on ruining it? Well, I lost my notes. I left them when we prayed, I put them there. I asked poor Terry to go look for them in the other room, in the social hall. And I put it right there. And I made notes fervently, desperately. And I'd been bragging to Edward and Terry that I'd written lots and lots of notes, and it ended up like this, which is way cool. So I'm learning to condense. Okay, so what brings us down, what compresses us, is our thoughts between our ears. It all begins between our ears. We sense something, and then we make up a response or a reaction. And so when I find myself resisting something, I force myself to chant. I love to chant. Like I've said before, when the bullet hit Gandhi's chest, he said, Rama, Ramana, 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 because he wanted to exit his body to the aspect of God that is joy, which is Ram. And Ram Das always has a wrist mala, and he's always doing Ram, Ram, Ram. So you can just say Ram or Om, or we can do better than this. Let's not do this to ourselves. Batura Papke, who was Ernest Holmes' practitioner on staff, and she was my spiritual mother and mentor, and she would say, when you make a mistake, just hug yourself. She says, I say, oh, Batura, you shouldn't have said that, but you can do better next time. It's to be compassionate with ourselves when we blow. Are you going to blow it again? I think so. I certainly am. You know, I still have my personality to deal with. I just don't know what to do about it now, which is heaven. So the spring is to remind you to be flexible, and when you get compressed, release it, just with a breath and a word like peace, love, truth. Just a word will raise your frequency of thought. Okay? So now, that was the problem when we were reacting, judging, hidden agendas. You know that phrase, hidden agenda? When you think you're helping someone and you just want to be right. Yeah. Hidden agendas. So that's the problem. The solution is what? As always, Ernest Holmes said it. Remember when I've done it a couple of times, when he writes in the first chapter, what is life about? This dreary trudging from problem to problem, only to be met at the grave. But hark, a still small voice says, man, know thyself. So truth to me is knowing who I am. And I am a grand cosmic being on a tiny planet in a teensy-weensy body that doesn't have to mean anything unless I let it. Unless I let it. If I let big S guide my thoughts, words, and actions, little s is resting in peace in the bottom curve. And it's peaceful again. I've achieved contentment. It started in 2019. I finally exploded. I erupted. I asked a friend to come over and witness because I was scaring myself. And then Terry helped me the next day to just complete with my work with AIDS, because I was still carrying that pain of years of helping people die, watching them suffer, and their parents and their mothers. So Terry helped me put the cap on the bottle. And I haven't looked at pictures. I don't think of it as much at all anymore, because what does it do? It lowers my frequency. What I do remember is I got to walk with grand cosmic beings on Earth that were facing their own death with such courage in our support group. They knew they weren't going to live, but they were forgiving themselves. They were getting clean and sober. They were really going for it, knowing that within 2 years, because in the beginning that was it, 2 years max. So now I remember the greatness I got to meet and be with. And the movie stars that were so amazing at our fundraisers, Edward J. Olmos, Judith Light, a ton of movie stars have compassion, a ton of them. And a ton of them show up. Catherine Ross and her gorgeous husband, what's his name? Sam Elliott. Yeah. Anyway, I just remember the greatness of it. And I remember the first 12 years with my mother because she was amazing. It became a disaster due to mental illness and alcoholism, which I inherited, I believe. You know, I inherited blue eyes. There's nothing I could do about it. I inherited an addictive body. There's nothing I can do about it. Ernest Holmes says we're born with tendencies, but we don't have to let them blow up into full-blown resistance and agony and suffering and even death. We don't have to do that with our tendencies, our inherited tendencies. It's just a tendency. And when we sense, ooh, I'm leaning towards that, let's get back, Loretta. Okay? So now we come to the philosophy of the truth. And I've been reading this book, Resume, by Emma Curtis Hopkins. I think it's published as 12 lessons. But anyway, there's a reading for every day in here. And this reading to me is the truth. I think it's page 44. Okay, it says, this is the chapter on works. You know, without works, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I believe in you, my soul, capital S. He said, loose the throttle of my throat. And I always say, it's like, what's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter? Oh, it was me. My own hands are on my throat. And I sponsor someone. I said, how are you doing this morning? He calls every morning at 7. And he said, well, to put it your way, I have my hands on my throat. And then I always say, I do an attitude adjustment in the morning. Sometimes it's a feather. Sometimes it's a shovel. Sometimes it's a forklift. And then I moved into crane. But I do it. Before my feet hit the floor, I have done an attitude adjustment, and it works. Okay? So the next one quote is, he whose soul glows and flames through all he does and thinks. Imagine you let soul win at every instant, at every thought, at every action. You let soul win where there's no reaction, there's no knowledge of what you're going through, no knowledge of your body and what it's made up or what it's attracted. So the soul glows and flames through all he does and thinks. He's discovered a bottomless well of living refreshment. Don't you love that? Living refreshment. Her vocabulary is fabulous to draw from. Everything he does has the touch of spiritual charm about it. For the soul is the everlasting reservoir of enchantment. We love the word enchantment here, don't we? I just love it. People say entrapment, but that's not true for me. I came home here for the first time since I was 18. I had a sense of home and belonging. I have a sense of home and belonging in this room, in all the events of Wellspring. I come home. So everlasting reservoir of enchantment, that means, to me, I believe there's innate joy within me, and I can access it. It's available, ever present. I can access it anytime I want to get over myself. I have to get out of myself to be happy. And how I get out of myself is to think of others, to serve others. St. Francis' prayer, better to comfort than be comforted. And I love the phrase in Isaiah, comfort, comfort ye my people, saith the Lord. We are here to comfort each other. Active listening and compassion is my one-size-fits-all response to pain in myself and others. I have to have compassion for pain I'm experiencing, like my toe. I have compassion for my baby toe, and I forgive it for the pain it's causing me. Okay, one more. Rise up, my soul. Heal the sick wherever I walk! Exclamation point. Show people how to be strong! Exclamation point. Make people love God! Exclamation point. This is it. Quicken me with heavenly fervor. I love that. Show me the finished kingdom through which I walk. The finished, you are complete. Terry Cole Whitaker said, you're complete, you're whole, complete, and perfect. And I went, bull roar. You don't know me. I'm a mess. I was dumped in San Diego from my sister by my millionaire fiance. I got a right to sing the blues and be miserable. And then she would say, there are no victims, only volunteers. And that was annoying too. Somehow, some way, I attracted whatever's going on. I was there. I'm the attractor. Okay? So make people love God, which I don't think is possible, but quicken me with heavenly fervor. Show me the finished kingdom through which I walk. Show me the words that make the world glad and sane. Isn't that cool? Now we go to the ladybug philosophy. Oh, you have them. These are ladybugs. And what does a ladybug represent for you? Anybody? Good luck, prosperity, spiritual, hope, yeah. Ladybugs are wonderful. I'm sorry they're so small. We have small gifts today. Oh, God, she's kissing her ladybug. Is that the dearest thing in the world? So ladybugs are about spiritual guidance, spiritual maintenance. Spirit can guide, maintain, and sustain us. And ladybugs, to me, have always been adorable, absolutely adorable. I just think they're the bomb. Watermelon and ladybugs, that color combination, they're just adorable. So let this remind you that you have spiritual knowledge within you. You have good tidings within you. And she also means that change is heading your way. Hopefully, yes. I don't want to stay stagnant. I mean, I've progressed so much, I don't want to stop. I want to finish so I don't have to come back to the dirt ball. I'm done, I hope. You know, I want to be the greeter when people rise up to a higher level. One time I had a vision, and I died, and I came back into this oval bowl of light as an infant. And this angel lifted me up and welcomed me to the earth. And I want to be that angel. I want to be the welcomer when people come home. I really do. I want to go, you did it. It's over. And now guess what? You're golden. All you have to do is enjoy. Just experience the highest frequency available, which is spirit. So the truth with Ernest Holmes was know thyself, right? So now it's time for my high-tech, what do I call it? PowerPoint. Last week, I had my friend he was my boss in the 60s, and he came to visit for a week. It was just heaven. I don't know why I said that, but. Okay, so this is my show and tell, my PowerPoint. Oh, I know, Gary, he was my boss in the 60s, and we've been tight ever since. I mean, to have a friend from the 60s is great. So, I forgot it again. Okay. But hark, let's say that. But hark. I know myself. You notice the big S? What if that's meant by man, know thyself? What if it's meant, know that you are a grand cosmic being living on a planet, expressing, and that Infinite energy is expressing through you at the level of your thinking and your emotions. But hark, let's say it again. I know myself as one with all creation and you. Let's say that. As one with all creation as you. And here's the big S for spirit or soul. And this is the little s for small s. The body, the reactor, the part that's facts. Now, do you want to be in the truth of knowing yourself, or do you want to be at the effect of your small monkey mind that wants you to fail? Which do we want?
Big S.
Yes, darling. Thank you. So, I brought this last time I spoke, but I didn't have the ringer. This is from Tibet. My old one was so shabby, this man went to Tibet and brought this to me. And now, whoever wants to go to Tibet and bring me another Christian, I'm wide open. And this is my mother's hanky with her monogram on it, and to soften the noise. And this was a tie. I was telling Terry, I used to pull out all the drawstrings from drawstring pants because I was never going to tighten them. I was 47 pounds heavier 10 years ago. So you have to have a sense of humor and just accept yourself. I'm sponsoring someone that is so miserable in his body. It's so sad. And I keep saying the first step is to acknowledge that you're overeating. Second is it may be heredity. Third is try working the steps. If that doesn't work, take action. There are lots of programs now for losing weight, and you can kickstart it. But to watch the agony he's in because of the weight he's carrying is very sad. But it's just to accept it. I think he looks great, but he's not happy and he's in pain. So whatever you're going through, whatever you're disapproving of yourself, which is ridiculous, just forgive yourself quickly. Let's say that. I forgive myself quickly. I forgive myself quickly. I forgive others quickly. I apologize for all of the above. And I was talking to my sponsor, and she said, well, you have a lot of character defects, and you've hurt a lot of people. You have to make amends. I said, well, how about this one? I apologize to the whole wide world for arriving the way I did. And I accept myself today. It's cool. It's really cool. Okay. So let's think about, I hope something served you today, either of what the problem is, it's our monkey mind. What the solution is, it's knowing who we are, the high truth, and to choose the high truth over facts. Facts are temporary. Everything we can sense. Remember, these are all five senses if you touch your face. It's all five senses right between your ears. And we can think. If we sense something, then our thoughts make up what we're going to do with it. So make it up high. Choose the highest frequency possible. It works, doesn't it? Terry and I have grown so much, and we say growth, Growth. It's just owl with a couple of letters on either side, but it's worth it. Okay, so hopefully something today rang true for you. Hopefully something that came through me at my highest devotion and desire to serve will serve you. The most important person in the room is the person in your chair. You are important. The world needs you and is ready for you, and it's safe for you to fly like the ladybug. Fly away, Om. Fly away, Om. So just think about what the problem may be, what the solution may be, and your own spiritual philosophy for affirmative living. Just take a few minutes and review. And if your mind wanders, that's okay too. Our affirmative prayer is, you are a grand cosmic being living in a tiny body on a tiny planet. and infinite energy is moving through you in a mighty way. You shine, you glow. You have found the land of enchantment right within your own heart and soul. You are enchanting. You have charisma. You attract amazing people, places, and things this week. This is possible. This happens. What we need is willingness. Willing to rise up. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, never mind the ridicule, never mind the defeat. Up again, old heart. Up again, old heart. Rise up. Don't stay down. We'll get down, but we don't have to stay down. So you have what it takes to be that grand cosmic being. You are that now. You need do nothing. So maybe this week we have the Ladybug philosophy of good luck, and spiritual guidance, and prosperity and protection. We are safe. It is safe for you to express yourself fully now. The world waits for you and needs you. And so we rejoice in the opportunity to gather together today, like every Sunday, with phenomenal speakers and an amazing staff and volunteers and attendees. It's a mighty, wonderful day today. And that's because of the person in your chair. And so we release any resistance, we release any doubts, and we choose truth. Know thyself. You know your high self. It is so much greater than any fact of people, places, and things in your life. And so we claim truth today in the highest sense of the word. And for this we give thanks. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
I got all choked up over here.
It's all good.
Sandy's message got me all choked up. It was beautiful. Thank you. Well, now it is time for our offering. And Edward, if you would please work the room. We acknowledge and receive our virtual and our in-person gifts. We give great thanks for the offerings we have already received and those that we will be receiving, because we know that giving and receiving is all part of the one flow. We affirm that we are part of that flow. And we bless these gifts and know that they are multiplied throughout our community. And so it is. Thank you. There's a number of folks that we would like to thank, profusely thank, for their service. They've contributed to the production of today's celebration. We have our techies in the back, Brenda and Edwin. Edward, thank you. Barry, thank you for the beautiful music. Reverend Sandy, thank you. Terry, thank you for being here, and thank you for doing the Seder next week. And we thank each and every one of you for being here and bringing your energy and sharing your light with us. And those of you out in Zoom land, thank you. And those that will be watching this virtually later on in the archives, thank you. And now, if you are able, please stand and join me in the benediction and then our congregational song. Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature and flow through us into the world. And so it is.